Hey everyone, in today's episode, we will take a closer look at the darkest corners of horrible crime cases. We're diving into the haunting case of a young girl's disappearance, a story that has left more questions than answers. From the initial investigation to the shocking discoveries, we'll walk you through every detail that makes this case both terrifying and captivating. So settle in, because this true crime tale is about to get real. A young man ordered pizza, stocked up on sweets and groceries, and seemed to be preparing for an ordinary weekend. However, his plans were anything but ordinary. Instead of relaxing, he spent his time hiding the evidence of a crime. He didn't feel a shred of guilt. In fact, he seemed to enjoy what he was doing. The events that took place early Sunday morning, February 6, 2022, in Aalborg, Denmark, sound like something from a horror film. But this was no movie. This was real life, and far more frightening. There were no actors, no fake blood. The pain and suffering were all too real. An innocent girl was lured into a trap, leading to a horrific end. The way the evidence was hidden only adds to the horror. This isn't just a story. It's a chilling reminder that real evil exists in our world. Mia Skaduga Steven, a 22-year-old with a kind heart and a bright spirit, was known for being friendly and social. From a young age, she had a passion for helping others, which led her to pursue a career in medicine. In 2016, she enrolled at Aalborg University, one of the largest universities in Denmark, to follow her dream. Her classmates admired her curiosity and the enthusiasm she brought to her studies. Studying medicine is no easy task, but Maya was full of energy and handled the challenges well. She maintained a healthy lifestyle, taking good care of herself. In addition to her studies, Maya tried modeling and even participated in a few photo shoots. By 2022, she was nearing the end of her time as a student. With final exams and graduation just around the corner, Mia decided to take some time to relax and enjoy her last few days of freedom. The lifting of COVID-19 restrictions provided the perfect opportunity to celebrate. After months of lockdown, people across the country were eager to socialize and reconnect. Bars and clubs were starting to fill up as people returned to their usual routines. Mia, like many others, joined her friends to celebrate the end of the semester and take part in the festivities. Unfortunately, that evening, she made a poor choice in both her outerwear and the drinks she consumed. Mia had planned to get home with friends by car, so she dressed nicely, though a bit too lightly for the chilly night. She also indulged in a few too many drinks as her group hopped from one party to another, moving between bars. By the time they decided to settle into club, Mia didn't realize just how tipsy she had become. The combination of fatigue and her limited experience with alcohol started to take its toll. A friend later mentioned that this kind of behavior was unusual for Maya. Normally composed, she was now full of energy, dancing with strangers and having a great time, even by 6:00 a.m. when the club was closing and nearly everyone had left. Maya didn't want the night to end. Most of her friends had gone home earlier, so she was left without a ride. Having spent all her money, she couldn't afford a taxi. So she decided to wait for the bus. At the bus stop, she spent some time with a 22-year-old guy she had met at the party. They chatted for a while before he left, likely because they weren't headed in the same direction, or perhaps he chose to walk home instead. Several hours after Maya and the young man parted ways, she never made it home. She failed to return the next day, and then the day after that. Within a week, the North Jutland police made a grim announcement. Mia Stevens's remains had been discovered in the forests near Dronninglund, a small town with a population of around 3,500. The discovery shocked the community and raised urgent questions about the circumstances of her tragic death and the horrifying dismemberment of her body into 231 parts. Denmark is renowned for its low crime rate, where people generally feel safe and secure. However, a case like this sends shockwaves throughout the country. The public was outraged, and there was intense scrutiny of the investigation, as everyone sought to understand how such a tragic and brutal crime could occur to end the otherwise serene life of the Steven family. This incident was a rare disruption. When their daughter failed to come home at the usual hour, they didn't rush to alert the authorities right away. Given that it was the first night after the isolation period, they assumed there might be a reasonable explanation. Perhaps their daughter had simply stayed out later than planned. Despite their hope that Maya would return soon, her parents couldn't entirely shake their concern. When she didn't come home, they reached out to her boyfriend only to learn he hadn't been able to contact her since the night before due to her phone being turned off. As they called all of Mia's friends and acquaintances, discovering that no one had seen her since she left the club, their patience finally wore thin. Maya usually let people know she was going to be late, so it was strange when she didn't show up without explaining. The Stevens family decided to involve the police to help find Maya. The police started looking for her right away. Mia's family didn't just wait around either. Her father searched the area carefully, looking for any clues. Her mother and sister turned to social media, pleading for any information about Mia's whereabouts. They shared her photo extensively, and the community rallied to support. The search intensified. Detectives focused on piecing together details from the previous night and early morning, gathering all available information to advance the investigation. Local residents near the area where Maya was last seen were enlisted for help. The police requested CCTV footage and asked for any photos or videos from the party. In response, they received around 400 calls from concerned citizens eager to assist. This led to a massive collection of over 1,000 files. The task facing the specialist was daunting and complex. It took several days to sift through the materials. Mia's friends were tormented by guilt, fearing she might have been left to face the cold alone. Despite their efforts, she remained missing from the city streets. Initial footage didn't yield significant new information but did corroborate their friends' accounts. It was confirmed that Mia had left the club around 6 a.m. and headed toward the bus stop, where she encountered an acquaintance from earlier in the evening. They had a brief conversation before he departed, leaving Mia alone to wait for her transport. The police tracked down and interviewed this individual. He provided details about his interaction with Maya and his whereabouts after leaving the club. His alibi was verified, and after a short discussion, he was cleared as a suspect. While some officers continued to scrutinize data from various sources, others interviewed everyone Maya had interacted with that night. Despite these efforts, the testimonies didn't move the case forward. The investigation then shifted focus to exploring Mia's personality and lifestyle in hopes of uncovering new leads. On February 8th, a significant breakthrough occurred in the investigation. Eyewitness accounts allowed specialists to trace Maya's presumed route from the bar to the bus stop. Additional surveillance cameras were reviewed, revealing that at 6:09 a.m., a black van approached her. The driver appeared to offer a ride, but Mia declined, and the van drove away. She continued to wait at the bus stop and briefly met the acquaintance from the party. After he left, Mia remained at the stop, but the bus never arrived. Perhaps by 7:30 a.m., she was visibly distressed from the cold, moving back and forth and jumping in place to keep warm. Desperate and unsure of what to do, she accepted a ride from the same van when it reappeared. Mia's parents were stunned that their usually cautious and responsible daughter would make such a decision. They speculated that her desperation due to the cold might have influenced her choice. This new evidence reinvigorated the investigation. The driver of the van, being the last person known to have seen Maya alive, became a crucial focus for the investigation. By scrutinizing the video footage, law enforcement officers were able to identify the vehicle's license plate, leading them to the suspects who had been using the van. Thomas Thompson was born in Southeast Asia, but later relocated to a small Danish town with a population just over 500. Initially, his family rented an apartment but eventually moved in with relatives, assisting around the house. As a young man, Thomas pursued a military career, achieving the rank of sergeant. He held a responsible position and had a keen interest in martial arts, earning a certificate in first aid. After completing his military service, Thomas trained as an electrician and was recognized as a skilled specialist. His colleagues described him as responsible, outwardly calm, and approachable, though they noted his mood could shift rapidly. Thomas Thompson was known for his sharp mood swings, shifting from cheerful and sociable to pensive and sad within moments. These abrupt changes were often attributed to his military background. It was noted that he abstained from alcohol and prohibited substances, living alone in a house near the club and owning a black 2015 Volkswagen. Thompson came under suspicion, leading to his arrest. The vehicle in question was confirmed to belong to Thompson, and he lacked a verified alibi. Investigators suspected he might have been the one who gave Maya a ride before her disappearance. However, Proving this theory required further investigation and time. The confiscated van underwent a thorough examination. Experts analyzed material samples, while others delved into the GPS data. They discovered that about 4 hours before Thompson encountered Mia, he had attempted to disable the vehicle's tracking system. Although this attempt initially succeeded, the system reactivated later. Detectives managed to reconstruct the exact route taken by Thompson's vehicle, providing crucial insights into the investigation. The GPS data revealed that Thompson's vehicle had started from his home, made several loops, and then stopped near where Maya was last seen before continuing on its way. The route showed that Thompson picked up Maya and then drove out of Aalborg, traveling through various towns before entering a wooded area where he spent a significant amount of time. He only reappeared a couple of days later. This segment of the route was particularly troubling and raised many questions. Investigators focused on the suspicious coordinates, deploying specially trained search dogs. The dogs quickly uncovered a hair tie, torn clothing, underwear, and other personal items scattered at some distance from each other. The arrangement suggested a line of struggle, indicating that Maya had been chased, fallen, and fought back. The frequent stops along the route implied that Thompson may have pursued Mia as she attempted to escape from the vehicle. Following the trail, the dogs led the forensic team deeper into the forest, where they discovered patches of freshly dug earth. Beneath a thin layer of soil, the team unearthed 231 fragments of a human body, revealing the grim conclusion to the investigation. The remains found in the forest were quickly identified as belonging to Maya Stevens. However, the condition of the body complicated the determination of the exact cause of death. Most specialists lean toward asphyxiation, with possible signs of exploitation, even posthumously. Further examination revealed that the body had been reassembled like a jigsaw puzzle, with several parts missing. Hans-Peter Haugen, a veteran pathologist, provided a detailed description of the case. This was an exceptionally challenging task for us. We're not accustomed to dealing with such brutal cases, he explained. An electric saw was used to dismember the victim. The suspect initially attempted to dissolve the body parts in drain cleaner and covered them with caustic soda. When this proved ineffective, he buried the remains in different locations. Peter Haugen's assessment was especially striking, given his extensive experience with over 12,000 autopsies, highlighting the brutality of the crime. During his initial interrogations, Thomas Thompson remained calm and feigned confusion about the reasons for his detention. He offered an implausible explanation for disabling the tracking system, claiming he had angered a police officer who then pursued him relentlessly. It was soon discovered that this was not Thomas's first falsehood. The investigation revealed that the attempt to disable the tracking device occurred at 2:14 a.m. due to a malfunction. The system recorded every 15 seconds and was reactivated at 9:23 a.m., by which time Mia was likely already deceased. It was presumed that Thompson took the body to his home. On February 10th, a press conference was held where detectives updated the public on the investigation's progress and shared the available information. At the press conference, authorities announced the tragic news of Maya Stevens' death and confirmed that Thomas Thompson was in custody. They assured the public of their commitment to uncovering the full truth and keeping the community informed. This commitment was underscored by the unsettling revelation that Thompson was a serial offender. It emerged that Thompson had a history of serious offenses far beyond what had initially been suspected. His psychological issues had been apparent for some time. In 2019, he was caught peeping on a female student, and similar incidents had been reported between 2015 and 2016, during which he was observed looking into the windows of young women and engaging in inappropriate behavior. One of the women who had experienced an incident involving Thompson reported it to her parents, who then contacted the police. During the investigation, a profile was created based on the descriptions provided, which closely matched Thompson's appearance. Despite this, he was not apprehended at the time. Investigators suspected that these incidents were not isolated. A particularly disturbing event from 12 years earlier added to their concerns. A woman had reported an attempted assault after waking in the middle of the night to find someone touching her. When she opened her eyes, she saw a stranger beside her but couldn't clearly identify his face. Her sudden awakening made the assailant more aggressive. He attacked her and began undressing her, but she fought back and called for help. Fortunately, her two friends, who shared the apartment with her, rushed to her aid. The intruder fled through an open window, likely having entered the same way. Despite police efforts, the suspect was not apprehended. Due to insufficient evidence and the statute of limitations, it was not possible to bring the earlier suspect to justice. However, there were compelling reasons to suspect his involvement in these past incidents. The affected women could be included as witnesses, and their testimonies played a crucial role in shaping the suspect's profile. As investigators delved into Thompson's past, additional disturbing patterns emerged. Conversations with his former girlfriends revealed troubling aspects of his behavior. It became apparent that Thompson's demeanor shifted dramatically in relationships, evolving from a seemingly sweet individual to a manipulative and aggressive partner. One ex-girlfriend revealed that after their breakup, she discovered the brake lines on her car had been cut. Given the difficult nature of their split, she immediately suspected Thompson. Fortunately, she was unharmed, but proving his involvement was challenging and ultimately unfeasible. Another former partner shared even more disturbing details about Thompson. She described his sadistic tendencies during intimate moments, revealing that he would tie her naked to a radiator and exploit her. A third woman provided unsettling information about her discovery of strange files on Thompson's computer. The files contained a list of women's names along with dates of their menstrual cycles. The source of this information was unknown, but it evoked frightening implications. Thompson, known for his charm and popularity with women, often began relationships easily due to his attractive appearance. During a search of Thompson's home, forensic experts uncovered bloodstains, adding another layer of horror to the investigation. Through comparative analysis, forensic experts confirmed that the bloodstains found in Thompson's home belonged to Maya, verifying that the victim had been brought to his residence after the crime. Additionally, genetic testing of materials from Thompson's car matched Mia's DNA with absolute certainty, leaving no doubt about his involvement. Despite this overwhelming evidence, investigators were eager to hear Thompson's account of the events. Once confronted with undeniable proof, Thompson began to speak, but his statements were inconsistent across several interrogations. It became evident that he was lying and attempting to deflect blame. Ultimately, Thompson admitted that he did give Maya a ride but denied having waited for her with any intention. His shifting stories and evasive responses further solidified the case against him. Thompson claimed that he intended to do a good deed by offering a ride to the freezing Maya. According to him, she was bold and said she wasn't in a hurry, so he suggested driving around for a bit, which she agreed to. They drove through the city before heading into the woods, where they became intimate. Thompson's narrative then took a disturbing turn. In one version, he stated that Mia had a seizure during which she fell and broke her neck. In another, he suggested that Mia accidentally suffocated due to the strap of her bag pressing against her neck, attributing this to an accident. He also claimed that Maya eventually managed to get out of the car and run away but tripped and fell, sustaining a severe injury. Regardless of the circumstances, Thompson admitted that Mia was near death, yet instead of providing first aid, which he was trained to do, he did nothing to help her. He transported her body to his home and disposed of it in a callous manner. Thompson explained that he didn't call emergency services because he feared they wouldn't believe his story and would accuse him of the crime. Thompson detailed an elaborate plan he devised to dispose of Maya's body. Initially, he attempted to dissolve her remains in a chemical solution, but after a day he was dissatisfied with the results. He then dismembered the remaining parts and buried them in the woods, scattering the smallest fragments around. Additionally, he attempted to burn his stained clothes and pointed out the site of the fire. At the fire site, detectives discovered remnants and tools used in the crime. Thompson portrayed the events as a series of unfortunate accidents, claiming that his disposal methods were driven by panic. However, his account was met with outrage by Maya's relatives. They firmly believed that Mia would never have consented to being intimate with a stranger and dismissed Thompson's statements as blatant lies and a profound disrespect to her memory. Investigators were convinced that they were dealing with a ruthless criminal who was attempting to portray himself as a victim of circumstance. The method he used to destroy evidence alone revealed his true nature. Detectives concluded that on the night of February 6th, Thomas Thompson had stalked his victim. He waited until Mia was completely frozen and let her guard down before offering her a ride home. Once she entered his van, Thompson likely threatened her with a weapon. Despite her attempts to resist and escape, she was overpowered. Thompson took advantage of Mia and ultimately deprived her of her life. Forensic experts lean towards asphyxiation as the cause of death, though it's important to note that not all body parts were recovered. These missing fragments could hold further grim evidence of the crime. The attack on Mia Stevens was indisputable, and her resistance was a key factor in the crime, while the assault was indirectly confirmed. Proving it beyond a reasonable doubt was challenging due to the state of the remains. Thomas Thompson was formally charged and brought to trial. During the proceedings, former colleagues of Thompson testified for the prosecution. They recounted their long-held suspicions about his sadistic tendencies, citing disturbing videos that revealed his egregious cruelty and a thirst for revenge. In stark contrast, Thompson's demeanor in court betrayed no remorse. Scenes of brutal violence and exploitation seemed to fascinate him, reflecting his true nature. Psychiatrists evaluated his mental state and concluded that while he was legally sane, he exhibited pronounced narcissistic and antisocial personality traits. Essentially, he was a sociopath devoid of compassion. Thompson denied culpability for the exploitation and death of Mia, but admitted to dismembering her body. In June 2023, the court found him guilty of causing Mia Stevens' death and of indecent conduct with her body under aggravating circumstances. The court sentenced Thomas Thompson to indefinite detention, with the possibility of parole after 10 years, due to his dangerous behavior towards society. However, it is notable that such criminals often secure early release after the minimum period. Remarkably, Thompson was acquitted of the exploitation charges due to insufficient evidence. Did the court deliver a just punishment for Thompson? And can women in Denmark feel secure knowing that justice has been served? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more gripping and shocking stories to come.